it's fair to say, most prisoners in our jails, they just want to do the time and get out. That's what they want to do. The state of the prison service today horrifies me. Everything I read about and everything I know about it from people that are still in the job, it horrifies me. Because we have, over the last sort of 20 years, just given the prisons to the prisoners to run. And we rarely see the staff being supported or in charge anymore. It's a very different place. But the type of prisoner will still be the same. Those that want to cause trouble, those that want to get on, do the time, go home. See, in jail, it's that you might wonder why people cause trouble in jails. Well, they do it because they're admired. They're admired by other individuals who are doing time as well. And it's often the disruptive and the rebellious who are admired. The more they're admired, the more rebellious they become. It's like a vicious cycle. The rebel, if you like, they simply feed on rebellion. That's what they do. They love the attention, they love the rebellion, they love the idea that the louder they get and the more trouble they can make, that the more admired they will be. They actually enjoy the moment. I heard a horrific story this morning that is true about a couple of our own who've gone through a really traumatic, horrible, nightmarish scenario of having the home broken into while they're in the house. This is the same sort of people. It's called evil. It's what happens. But they enjoy the moment. They enjoy the moment. Why? Because it's immediate gratification. If you're going to steal something and you steal it, it's immediate gratification. It's this sense that we all have inherently in us until it is changed, that what is available to us, we will have. We will take it if need be. We will do what we want with it. So the rebel feeds on the rebellion. What they do in the jails, I've seen this a million times, they gather around them all those who admire them. They have their little groups. You see where they sit on associations or who takes the turn in the... You could always see who was running the wing in terms of prisoners by who got the first game on the pool table or who got the first phone call, etc., etc., etc. But they would gather around them, all these people, at their top table, if you like. And the drama repeats and repeats. Their ego becomes huge, the ringleader. Their ego becomes huge while their cell is still the same size. The reality is easily seen by anybody with a whiff of intelligence. The rebel makes no difference to anyone but themselves. You see, it was the troublemaking prisoners kept me in a job. The only reason to keep people behind a wall, supposedly according to the justice system, is to keep the public safe. So the very fact that we were locking people up kept the public safe. The rebel makes no difference to anyone but themselves. Quack, quack. The rebel will take added days. We had these things called governor's reports, and members of staff could place an individual on a report for bad behaviour. So they would do this, and they would go out, some of them looking for the governor's reports, because the more they got, the greater their ego was inflated, the more admired they were, because they seemed to be rebelling against the system. They thought somehow it made them look tougher. What it does actually show is short-sightedness, and all we understood it to be was a longer jail term. The admirers and the ego-driven ringleader, well, they only last until there's a put-down. And a put-down in my time in the jails was a well-known phrase. It was a put-down, it was this. It was when a more stupid and a tougher lag came along and replaced the one that they were all admiring. So it was almost remove the head of the group, and he will instantly become more greatly admired, have a huge ego again, and this vicious cycle would just continue to repeat itself. But what about the rebel that's being displaced? This always amused me, because the rebel is a rebel because he wants people around him. I say him because I worked in male establishments. But they became that in the first place because they wanted attention. All of a sudden they've been deposed and the attention isn't there anymore. So they do another thing, and I've seen this a million times. They ingratiate themselves with the staff because they need to be loved in some way. They need to be communicated with in some way. And so they come alongside the staff because perhaps the staff will give them what they need in terms of conversation, in terms of whatever it might be. That rebel starts to become a very lost soul. He becomes a Billy No-Mates. And all of a sudden, because of his need to ingratiate himself with company, he has now chosen the staff. And all of a sudden that makes him a grass. That makes him a turncoat. Why? Simply because he desperately needs to be appreciated by somebody. And it is usually the old admirers of him that put it about that he's a grass, that he's a turncoat. There are no loyalties in jails, let me tell you. There are none. Might look like there is at times, but there isn't. It is about self-preservation. It is about one man doing one sentence and getting out alive. Meanwhile, the new tougher lag's ego gets more and more inflated, and this whole cycle repeats. I call them idiots. They always were idiots. They're still idiots. They behave this way because there are four main reasons. Firstly, they cannot imagine a better future. They can't even imagine that there is something better than being admired by more idiots in confinement. So firstly, they cannot imagine a better future. Secondly, they cannot help themselves because it is immediate gratification that drives them. It's immediate gratification that drives the shoplifter. It's to have, it's to take it and be rewarded in some way. Now, there could be all sorts of reasons as to why people steal, but it always results in immediate gratification. Thirdly, the rebellious behaviour is exciting for a while. Actually exciting. They think it's forever. So this is why they rebel, because they think that this admiration will go on forever. You know, when we're 14, 15, which is usually when boys start to get into crime and start to hang on to crime as a way of life. At 14, 15 years of old, nobody can tell us the right way of doing things. We just ain't going to listen. We will listen to those that tell us that that way of life is okay. We will do that because we are fed by the same things. Immediate gratification, excitement, this sense that this will go on forever. The amount of guys that I've seen come into prison, I've lost count, that have come in full of bravado through reception, and by the time they sat on the bed in the cell, they're crying. It quickly leaves. Jail is a very quick leveller. So that third point, that the rebellious behaviour is exciting for a while, they foolishly think it's forever. Fourthly, this, that they never learn from the put down of others. They never learn from the fact that ringleaders always get replaced. Always, without exception. Always. It doesn't matter what they're involved in. So why do these idiots behave the way they do? I call them idiots because they want to do this type of behaviour. They want to do this type of life in jail. Never mind what's happening prior to jail. In jail. And then you get the others. You get those who just want to watch the chaos, do the time, go home. The sensible ones. They will watch the chaos ensue and they will quietly do the time, and they will go home. Our primary scripture today is about the crucifixion from the book of Luke, verses 33 to 43. When they came to the place called the Skull, there they crucified Jesus and the criminals, one on the right and the other on the left. But Jesus was saying, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots, dividing up his garments among themselves. And the people stood by looking on. And even the rulers were sneering at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself if this is the Christ of God, the chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up to him, offering him sour wine and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." Now there was also an inscription above him that said, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who were hanged there was hurling abuse at him, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other answered, and rebuking him, he said, "Do you not even fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed are suffering justly, for we are receiving what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." And he was saying, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." I want to talk briefly about the two thieves that were crucified either side of Jesus. Tradition holds that they had names. That to the right of Jesus was crucified a man called Dismus, and to the left a man called Gestas. It's highly likely that their crimes were significant. Why? Well, they were getting crucified. They were at very least deserving of death according to the Roman system of justice. And they probably saw Jesus in the middle of them as one of theirs, one of their own. The same thing. Same thing's happening to him. So why would he not be the same type? "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us," they said. Immediate gratification, you see that? Not save yourself. If you are God, save yourself. No, save us. The same gratification has not left them. It is still about self-preservation. The Jews, they believed that their Messiah would be a political powerhouse. They believed that he had come to save them from Roman rule. How disappointed they must have been to murder him, to nail him to a cross, to watch him die as slowly as they could afford before they wanted to rush things because of the Passover. How on earth could they live with that immediate gratification? But here they are, whatever type of criminal they are, they're getting crucified alongside Jesus. To the left, Gestas. He's the one who continues with the abuse. Even as Jesus is preaching forgiveness and salvation. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." Gestas, he's still there. The bravado, the idiot, the ringleader. He's still doing all the abusing he can do. He's still calling Jesus names. He's still abusing him verbally. There is our idiot. These idiots haven't changed in 2,000 years, folks. They still exist, same today. They keep up the rebellion till the end because they think it makes them look tough, belonging to the world, a world that hates them. Do you know that? The world hates you. I don't mean because you're a Christian. I mean the world hates you because you're a human being. It hates you because in everything that it is, it simply wants to entice you into its ways. It wants to make money the god of your life. It wants to make property the god of your life. It wants to make health the god of your life. The only god of your life that you should be interested in is the one that gave you life and the one that can continue to give you life. The idiots are still being idiots. Metaphorically speaking, those rebels will still do what he on the cross, Gestas, was about to do. They will die. And as far as they're concerned, the best they can hope for is annihilation. The dirty hole in the ground, cremation, whatever you want to call it. That's their best option. Live a life. Leave everything behind and go to the ground. Now, when I was working that out as a youngster in my 30s, I was working out that three-way thing. You've heard me say it a million times. Heaven, hell, or the dirty hole in the ground. Which one of those appeals to me? Heaven, hell, or the dirty hole in the ground? Just one of them. I wanted to get to heaven. You see, we're all born idiots. Every single one of us. We're all born with this thing called original sin. There is a special grace for our children if they're taken from us. And Joanna and I had our boy taken from us. We know what that grace looks like. But the Bible tells us that the idiot won't go to the dirty hole in the ground. No, that's just passing through. That's just the beginning of things. That's just the nature of things. The reality is that they are going to hell. They are going to eternal damnation. This might sound like an exciting prospect to the idiot. It does. It sounds like an exciting prospect because we can still be the rebel. Like those idiots in jails. Still be the rebel. Still be the ringleader. Still be the one that everybody admires. And you hear from the idiot idiotic things like, well, if there's a party in hell, I'm coming. Well, I'm going to tell you today, there is no party in hell. There is only torture. There is only pain. There is only loss. The Bible calls it a place where there is gnashing of teeth. It is not somewhere you want to go. So annihilation in death is not what the end looks like. The Bible tells us very clearly, eternal damnation, fire, pain, hell is where they are going. Not a good choice on the part of Gestas, no? An idiot. An idiot. So let's contrast his choices on Jesus' left with those of Dismas on his right. But the other answered and rebuking said, do you not even fear God? This is Dismas to Gestas. Do you not even fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed are suffering justly. For we are receiving what we deserve for our deeds. But this man, this Jesus, has done nothing wrong. And he was saying, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. See, this idiot had turned. He had turned. You are under the same sentence of condemnation, he says to Gestas. You are under the same sentence of condemnation. He meant the same sentence as me. The same sentence that I am by. This then is the state of man. The state of man is an enduring pain that will not be lost unless Jesus removes it. Verses like Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And Romans 5 verse 12, therefore just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, and in this way death passed on to all men, because all sinned. These verses just highlight to us that humanity is born into a fallen state. You know, that message is highly offensive. You've just seen it happen. The reality is this: the message stands. It does not change. We are born into separation with God. We are born at war with God. We are born under the wrath of God. We are born into a situation that we cannot change. But God can. So our choices are this: continue to be an idiot or don't. This is a very simple message. Continue to be an idiot or don't. The gospel is the most intrinsic truth in language. Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one comes to the Father except by me. No one comes to Jesus except through him. Next week our Saab is preaching. The week after that I'll be bringing you a message that I promised I would, which is about the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Gestas, let's assume his name means idiot. Translates to the word idiot. Know this about Dismas. Dismas means sunset. What do we know about a sunset? It'll rise again, won't it? So why do these that we might call Gestas exist? Well, point one, they cannot imagine a better future. Same as the idiot in jail. They cannot imagine a better future. Secondly, they cannot help themselves because immediate gratification feeds them. You'll notice if you wrote these down first time, they're the same 4 points. Thirdly, that the rebellious behavior is exciting for a while and they foolishly think that is forever. And 4, that they never learn from the put down of others. In other words, they could not relate the awful end of the previous rebel to themselves. So what about those we call Dismas? What about those whose name might be sunset? What about those whose name might mean brother, sister, child of God? What about them? A Christian author once wrote, how does the thief on the cross fit into your theology? No baptism, no communion, no confirmation, no speaking in tongues, no mission trip, no volunteering, no church clothes. He couldn't even bend his knees to pray. He didn't say the sinner's prayer. And among every other thing that we knew about him, he was a thief. Well, what we know is this: Jesus didn't take away his pain or heal his body or smite the scoffers. Yet it was a thief who walked into heaven the same hour that Jesus did. He had nothing more to offer than his belief that Jesus was who he said he is. No spin from brilliant theologians. No haze machine on the platform. No donuts. No coffee at the entrance. Just a naked, dying man on a cross who was unable to even fold his hands to pray. So what about Dismas? Well, he did like the other sensible ones we heard about that I looked up. He watched the chaos around him and he followed a different path home. But when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them from one another as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep on his right, and he will put the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, those who we call Dismas, he will say, "Come, you who are blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." And then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, you who are accursed. Depart into the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil, for you, and for his angels." The message is simple this morning. Repent and accept the lordship of Christ. Don't be an idiot. Amen. God bless you, folks. We're going to finish the service with a song.